Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Today, we will be playing Dredge. Now, it's been a while since I played Dredge. I swear, Dredge lists look weirder and weirder every single time that I play them. First off, we're playing a City of Brass and a Mana Confluence, as well as a Gemstone Mine. Generally, in the past, Dredge lists have played maxed out on gemstone mines because of its synergy with life from the loam and the fact that it doesn't cost you life. So I'm interested to see why we're actually playing the Painland versions. And I suspect it's due to if you're playing gemstone mine and one too many life from the loams don't resolve, you could be in huge trouble. Interestingly, we're not maxed out on thugs. We're only playing 2 Bloodghasts, so we're really relying on Prized Amalgam as, the beater here. 2 Conflagrates for reach. Obviously, the Strixhaven edition being Thrilling Discovery as Cathartic Reunions number 5 through 8. And, yeah, that's basically all I have to say for the main deck here. I think it's interesting that, with the addition of more Cathartic Reunions, we've dropped Haggles. And really what we're looking for is just Cathartic Reunion double Dredger on turn 2, it looks like. Out of the sideboard, a couple of interesting things. Number 1, Deafening Silence. Actually, I only recognize a few of the cards in the sideboard here. We have Blast Zone as loamable removal for Relic of Progenitus, Grafdigger's Cage, etc. as kind of a backup plan. We have Nature's Claim, Ancient Grudge to remove Grave Hate. Lightning Axe to deal with creatures while also being a discard outlet, and Leyline of Punishment. This one I think is kind of interesting, but it makes sense versus some decks that do gain life with their removal. Like you have decks occasionally casting things like Lightning Helix, Timely Reinforcements versus Dredge, that sort of thing. And I think the can't gain life part is relevant. As well as we got Leyline of Sanctity if we need to not be targeted for some reason, and Dark Blast as removal versus decks that play a lot of Mana Dorks, or X1s. That is also another Dredger. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to take this into a league. I'll see you guys in round 1. Alright, well I can't keep a no-lander. We've got Dredgers, but nothing to do with it. This works, I think. So we'll keep, I'm going to put back Bloodghast and Prized Amalgam. Maybe it's correct to keep the Amalgam and put back, Bloodghast and an Imp, but I think double Imp is probably a good enough start. Unfortunately, we don't have a fetch land to shuffle those cards off the bottom of our deck for our first land play, but it's possible we might draw one. We are against a Lurrus deck. Okay, we did not get Thought Seized. There's the Bloodstained Mire. Pass the turn. Now, I will freely admit that I am no expert Dredge player. So if I make any questionable plays, please question them. Alright, opponent plays Kroxa. This is excellent. I think my opponent will find that this is considered a mistake in most cultures. Discard Stinkweed Imp. Okay, move to my opponent's end step, crack Bloodstained Mire. We will get a Blood Crypt. We have Rainbow Lands. We'll get a Blood Crypt. Tapped. Untap. We Dredge. Get a Creeping Chill, go to our main, play Mana Confluence, then let's Thrilling Discovery. We will use its ability, discard Imp and Imp, Dredge Imp, and Dredge Imp. I think that was basically as close to the ideal Dredge as we can possibly get. Opponent forces us to discard a Dredger, and then we Cathartic Reunion, dredging 3 Imps. Alright, opponent knows what they're playing against now. So they are some kind of Grixis Lurrus deck. Well, I don't see a version playing Kroxa anywhere, so I'm not sure what they could be playing out of the sideboard. Let's try and brain this. It's early in the morning. I did just drink all my caffeine, but I don't think it's absorbed yet. I've got a feeling we might need Nature's Claim, Ancient Grudge. Is my opponent going to be gaining life? If they're Shadow, probably not. We may want Leyline of Sanctity. I'm not sure how much we want Leyline of Sanctity. So if I'm bringing in 3 cards, what am I trimming? I think it's going to be a Bloodghast. Maybe a Thrilling Discovery. Cathartic Reunion is better in this matchup, because if it gets countered, we still get the cards in the grave. And then I need to cut one more card. You know what? I think I'm just going to bring in the Nature's Claims. We'll try it like this. Alright, this seems like a pretty good opener. We will keep. We do have something to do on turn 1. Unfortunately, we are holding 2 Creeping Chills, but if we get Thought Seized, I'm pretty sure my opponent takes Thrilling Discovery, unless they have Surgical, or Tormod's Crypt, or Nile Spellbomb. Okay, we draw a life from the loam. Play Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, they draw. Okay, so I do need Ancient Grudge in this matchup. Now they're gonna Thought Seize. Sure. They take Thrilling Discovery. Okay. They play a Steam Vents untapped. Crack Bloodstained Mire. We'll get a Stomping Ground tapped. Untap. We draw a Bloodstained Mire. So play Bloodstained Mire, crack it. Get a Sacred Foundry. Then we'll loam. Getting trying to get back 2 lands. We're basically going to have to try and force our opponent to crack these Grave Hate spells, basically. Okay, opponent bolts themselves. I mean, we might be able to get him on the slow, hard cast Creeping Chill plan. Do I Dredge Loam? So I have 7 cards in hand. I might be able to get him with a Conflagrate here. So we Dredge Loam, play Bloodstained Mire, crack it. I'll get a Blood Crypt tapped, and then we'll pass. If my opponent does 3 more damage to themselves via like another Lightning Bolt, and we don't die, we can Conflagrate for 0 to get it in the grave, and then immediately flash it back. It's possible my opponent has a Stubborn Denial. So Dredge Loam, we hit a Narcomoeba. I mean, that blocks if they allow it to enter the battlefield, and they don't. Okay. So, let me think here. We can either play Golgari Thug to block, and then loam a land back, or we can cast Creeping Chill. If I cast Creeping Chill, both of these become 6/6s, and if my opponent draws a fetch land, we die. I think we have to play Thug and then loam. So play Thug, play Bloodstained Mire, crack Bloodstained Mire, get our basic mountain, because I don't really want to lose any more life, then pick up Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn, and next turn, provided there's no Stubborn Denial, if there's more than 1 land in the grave, we can Dredge Loam, pick up a bunch. Okay, I might be dead here. If they have Temur Battle Rage, I'm dead. If they don't have Temur Battle Rage, I think they're dead. Yeah, I think they're dead. So opponent attacks for 12. Block 1. We put Golgari Thug back on top of the deck. We untap. We dredge. Oh, hang on. We might not have them here. I think we needed 2 lands in the grave for it to work. Yeah, we needed 2 lands in the grave or a redraw here. Because I can fetch Bloodstained Mire, shock, and then loam. But that actually puts me at less cards in hand. And I could cast Conflagrate and then flash it back, but I can only do 6 damage and opponent goes to 1. Creeping Chill doesn't save me either. So that was close. If I had dredged a land there, we'd be fine. So did the Thug actually kill me? No. Okay. I mean, it technically saved me from dying, but I don't think it's correct to bring in Lightning Axe here. I also don't necessarily think it's correct to bring in Blast Zone, but maybe, because they have Nile Spellbombs and stuff. I do want the Ancient Grudge. If I bring in the Blast Zone, what do I take out? A basic mountain, maybe? Yeah, I guess I've got to. So we'll drop a basic mountain for a Blast Zone, and then I think it's a Creeping Chill that I cut. Maybe I need this Thrilling Discovery to help cycle through my deck. I just don't know what I would cut for that. I could play 61 cards, but this deck is inconsistent enough. Alright. I don't want to overwork my brain, so I'm just going to say 61 cards and let's go. Definitely don't think that's correct. Also don't know what to cut. I would like to play first. This hand should be okay. I will keep. We do have loam and a fetch land, so we can at least get a Dredger into the grave, provided, of course, we're not casting Cathartic Reunion. If my opponent doesn't have Grave Hate turn 1, but they kept 7, I think? No, they mulligan to 6. If they have to mulligan to Grave Hate, this hand is fine, especially if it's a hand like they had last time. So start Wooded Foothills. We're going to fetch Stomping Ground first. Play Shriekhorn. Pass the turn. Let's see what our opponent does. They start Bloodstained Mire. Crack Bloodstained Mire. For a Watery Grave, untapped. Then they Thought Seize us. Okay. They take Cathartic Reunion. Do they have a Tormod script? They have a Bauble. They crack Bauble, looking at our top card. Okay. On their second main, I'm going to Shriekhorn. And the reason I'm doing it then instead of their end step is because there is a slight chance that we hit Narcomoeba plus Prized Amalgam. So, mill on our upkeep. We hit Narcomoeba. Play Narcomoeba. Opponent draws. We draw Bloodghast. So, play Gemstone Mine. Cast Life from the Loam, because we need to make our land drops here. Pass the turn. Opponent having that Thoughtseize for that Cathartic Reunion was pretty bad. But I mean, like, what else are they leading on, right? They Thought Scour themselves. Did they keep a one-lander? I would be very surprised if they kept a one-lander. Okay. They have a Swamp. They Inquisition, so they can take Shriekhorn. Opponent's hand is questionable. So, mill ourselves. We hit a Creeping Chill. So they probably have a Death Shadow. I think I still do this. Dredge Loam. We hit a Narcomoeba. Trigger Amalgam. Did I mess up? If I hadn't done the Creeping Chill and I hadn't done the Narcomoeba, I would have just enough cards to Ox, leaving Prized Amalgam in the grave. Okay. So, play Bloodstained Mire. Fetch with Bloodstained Mire. Let's get a Blood Crypt. Untapped. Go ahead and Loam. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 1. So I'm probably going to cycle and pick up Loam. And I think I'm going to do that now, because I have a Prized Amalgam returning. So if I hit another Amalgam, I can trigger it. Okay, I didn't. We get an Amalgam back. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They now are low enough life total they can play Death Shadow and leave up something like Stubborn Denial. I don't even know if they keep Stubborn Denial in the deck versus us, really. They need Grave Hate this turn. They unearth a Shadow. Alright, we untap. We draw Narcomoeba. Play Bloodstained Mire. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Get a Sacred Foundry. Untapped. Let's go for the Ox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I did this because it's unlikely they have a counterspell that can hit Ox. Dredge Loam, Dredge Loam, Dredge Loam. Hit nothing. I guess we'll cast Loam. Pick up some lands. Go to combat. And honestly, I think I just pass. Opponent's going to crack this Polluted Delta, which is going to give our Bloodghast haste. Provided, of course, we get back the Bloodghast. We have a Dredger we can cast and then cycle to immediately dredge. They bolt a Narcomoeba. Okay. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration. This is definitely a deck I've not encountered before. So they'll probably end up exiling a land here. Yep, it's a Bloodstained Mire. So if they immediately fetch and shock a Blood Crypt, there's a risk of Temur Battle Rage, and I may have to overblock. Okay, hang on. So if they fetch and shock, this becomes an 8/8, and if they have Temur Battle Rage, I have to put at least the Ox in front of this. So I'm going to block with the Ox and the Prized Amalgam here. They scoop. Okay. Sweet! I'll see you guys in round 2. I think this is a good game 1 hand for round 2. Us being on the draw kind of sucks, but... the Mirror. Possibly. I don't know that for sure. My opponent tapped for white mana into a Shriekhorn. Okay. Play Wooded Foothills, pass the turn. I think on our first discard we discard... Oh my gosh. Double Amalgam. That's a pretty good Shriekhorn mill. Thrilling Discovery Thug. Double Amalgam, and they hit a Dredger. And they hit 2 Narcomoebas. Wow, okay, so opponent is definitely favored to win this. This is not the end of the world, but it's pretty good. Like, we gotta have even more insane dredges. They play Ghost Quarter. They tap... They have a Cathartic Reunion? On top of this? Ditching another Amalgam? Okay. While I think my hand was good, I think my opponent had the nuts. They dredge, and then they draw. Well, at least they're not getting back a Bloodghast too, but that's pretty damn good. Okay. So they get back their Amalgams. We fetch a Sacred Foundry. Untap. We draw a Loam. So play a Mountain. I don't think we can ditch Double Imp. I think it's gotta be Imp plus Amalgam. Maybe it is Double Imp. So we gain some life. Ditch the imps. Dredge. Dredge. Triple creeping chill. Okay, we have no further replacement effects. Always yes, always yield. Well, we shot him down to 9. Pass the turn. Opponent gets back another amalgam. So we will likely be playing Ox next turn. Opponent dredges and undoes 2 of our creeping chills in what continues to be the best sequence of dredges I have ever seen in my entire life. That was like our one hope, was we like drained our opponent of all of their life, and then we were gonna get like a huge dredge off of Ox into like a conflagrate or something like that. Jeez. Alright, City of Brass for Loam. They're going to pick up lands. This gives them back a Bloodghast. Okay. So they go to combat. They attack us for 11, and we go to 13. We untap. We draw a Shriekhorn. So we play a Mana Confluence. We play a Shriekhorn. Because we want to make sure that we have enough spaces left over in the deck that we can leave the Ox, or that we can leave the Prized Amalgam. Okay, opponent fetches up a Sacred Foundry randomly. Mill ourselves. We mill another amalgam. Red, red. Get everything that isn't... I guess we've got to get rid of this Ox. We'll leave the amalgams in the grave. Always yield. Ditch our whole hand. Dredge imp. Dredge imp. Dredge loam. We hit a Narcomoeba and we'll get back 4 prized amalgams. But they're all tapped. So all my opponent needs to do is find a conflagrate. And we'll probably be dead. Yeah, our hand was great as like a dredge hand. It just was much, much slower than my opponent's. So we have to deal with all of the amalgams triggering and resolving as our opponent clicks through them one at a time. Alright, opponent untaps. So next turn we can loam, play a land, and then conflagrate to give our Bloodghast haste. If my opponent ghost quarters us for some reason, we have to get a basic, and that would take us off of loam. Because they would presumably hit Mana Confluence. In the attack, we'll have to block like 2 amalgams, which would mean we'd take 7 and go to 5. And if they have Conflagrate, we die. If they're holding another red source. Okay. Block and block. We go to 5. Opponent is now thinking. Opponent scoops? They didn't have the reach, and we had them with the Conflagrate. Wow. Wow. I would never have thought I was gonna win that one. Versus the Dredge Mirror. How do I sideboard? I guess I could bring in Leyline of Punishment, but that hurts me as much as it hurts them. It just kind of relies on, like, me having worse dredges than my opponent, which I will if I bring in Leyline. I could bring in Dark Blast to have an additional dredge. I don't think I actually make any adjustments here. I could bring in Leyline, but Leyline doesn't stop Creeping Chill, it only stops Conflagrate. Yeah, I'm just going to run it back. Maybe we'll see how our opponent sideboards, and that might give us some ideas. If they have Leyline of the Void, I'm going to feel really silly. This hand is not keepable. My opponent mulligans to 6. This hand does work, it's just slow. They're mulliganing to 5. I'm going to keep this hand, and I'm going to put back Mountain. Yeah, if I needed the Nature's Claims for this matchup, I won't be surprised. Okay, they kept 5 and started with Leyline of the Void. So, yep. I'll just concede. And we'll bring in Nature's Claim. And what do I take out for Nature's Claim? I think it's going to be a Cathartic Reunion, because Thrilling Discovery is technically slightly better. And a Narcomoeba. Try it like this. But we basically need a Nature's Claim, because my opponent is going to mulligan to Leyline of the Void. I would like to play first. This hand is good, it just doesn't do what we need it to. So we mulligan to 6. Hopefully our opponent does not keep 7. They kept 7. Going to 4. Going to 3. Going to 2. Alright. We mulligan to 1 to find a Nature's Claim. It's all because I didn't bring it in game 2. Alright. My opponent apparently kept a no-lander. Oh no, never mind. I was on the play. I wish they'd kept a no-lander. Opponent's probably playing a Shriekhorn here. Oh, Conflagrate. Okay. So it's kind of a little bit of a slower dredge hand. It doesn't matter if our speed is 0. It doesn't matter how slow their hand is. Alright. So here comes the Conflagrate for 5. Or for 4 if they're holding like a Cathartic Reunion or something. Or, no. They would only discard 2 cards if they were holding Cathartic Reunion or Thrilling Discovery. Yeah. So, the game 3 for this match is not one worthy of criticism, because I think mulliganing to Nature's Claim was necessary, because my opponent is playing Leyline of the Void. So, I need to top deck Land Dredger to get back in this game now. Okay, opponent gets back a Bloodghast and a Prized Amalgam, and so Land Dredger might actually not be enough. Oh, never mind, they have Ox. I think just Ox. Yeah, but mulliganing down to Nature's Claim was correct, even if it took a mulligan to 1. If I lose this match, it's because I didn't bring in Nature's Claim game 2, thinking because the last 4 deck lists I saw didn't have Leyline of the Void in the side, that I probably wasn't going to play against Leyline of the Void. So if I lose this match, it's because I conceded game 2. Because I didn't sideboard for game 2 properly, which was bringing in Nature's Claims, and I did nothing. Alright, here comes the Ox. Okay, so they're going to get back Amalgam. Now they're going to play Ox? So they can leave exactly Amalgam in the grave if they exile everything else. Okay, so this lets them discard the card they have in hand, and then draw 3 cards. It was a Stinkweed Imp. Yeah, we've lost. No matter what we top deck, it's not going to be fast enough. If this was a Shriekhorn, there was some possibility that we could mill ourselves into what we needed to survive. It's just not likely versus an opponent who is actively dredging. Alright, I mean, in theory, it's possible, right? Okay. Opponent has 7, 8, 14 damage on board exactly. So we're dead on board. Sad day. Yeah. I lost that round by losing game 2. By being a moron. So I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, round 3. We can probably rely on just Shriekhorn on the play, so we'll see what happens. It's not the most amazing dredge hand, but if we top deck Cathartic Reunion or Thrilling Discovery, we'll have a good turn 2, that's for sure. So I'm going to get Stomping Ground on the off chance that we actually happen to draw Life from the Loam. Opponent leads on Forest. It's Hardened Scales. We mill ourselves into a Golgari Thug. Dredge again. Hitting nothing. Okay. Play Bloodstained Mire. Do I get a white mana here? I either play Golgari Thug off of black mana or I fetch up white mana. I think because I'm not... It's not the greatest thing to put Golgari Thug on top of my deck here. Okay. Opponent plays an Ink Moth Nexus, a Welding Jar, and a Hanger Back on 1. Okay. So, fetch. We'll get a Sacred Foundry, so we can hopefully cast Thrilling Discovery, mill ourselves, double Cathartic Reunion, untap, mill again. I should have waited actually till the draw step when I dredge, but for that exact reason. I can either dredge Loam and get a land, or dredge Thug and try and go deep, but I think I take the Loam here. Okay, we had a Conflagrate. Yeah, if I had milled myself when I dredged, I'd have had an Amalgam in the grave and gotten the Amalgam, so that was actually a misplay. We'll take City of Brass, Bloodstained Mire, and a Mountain. Play Bloodstained Mire. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Forest. Plays an Arcbound Ravager. Puts a counter on Hangerback. Untaps. We dredge Thug. Oh, I should have fetched, actually. Okay. Fetch with Bloodstained Mire. Get a Blood Crypt. Play City of Brass. If I want to Conflagrate to kill Ravager, I have to deal 7 damage to it, and then they could just Welding Jar it. So I think we're better off if we hit our opponent for everything we got here. We'll go red, red, dump our whole hand. Basically, we're going to just go for a big Ox Dredge. Red, red. Get rid of the Cathartic Reunions in the grave, the Narcomoeba, and a couple of the lands, I think. Okay. Take a damage. We get an Ox. Okay. Trigger the Amalgams. Big dredge time. Dredge, dredge, and dredge. Okay. Okay, we get back Narcomoeba, so we have an additional flying blocker. We get to take our opponent to 7. Next turn, we can dredge Loam, pick up a land, and then play Bloodghast. Opponent untaps. Plays a land. 4 mana. Ballista on 2, maybe? Okay, Hangerback. Hangerback is better to see than Ballista here. We untap. So do we get Loam or do we take Imp? Loam guarantees Bloodghast. Imp potentially gets us our other Conflagrate. I'm going to take the Imp. Okay, we hit a Creeping Chill. My opponent blocks here, here, and here. It would take 2 in the air and go to 2. Okay, play the Imp. Pass the turn. We basically have to hope our opponent does not have Ballista. It looks like they might. Well, they're making an enormous Ravager. Oh, 7 flyers, okay. They play Blink Moth. They animate Blink Moth. They animate Ink Moth. Hang on, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 artifacts. So this isn't lethal even if they stack the whole of their counters. No, it is, because they have hardened skills. Yes, okay. So they just needed to find 1. Wait, would I have had lethal if I had hit the Bloodghast there? I guess it depends on how deep that Creeping Chill was, because if I'd been able to Loam and then play Bloodghast, we would have been able to attack and had exactly lethal. Oh, my opponent screwed up. They sacked the wrong stuff to Ravager and got rid of all of their attackers. Oops. Yep. Alright. Opponent threw the game. So we want Dark Blast, Lightning Axe, Ancient Grudge, Claim, and Blast. I'll drop a Mountain, a Narcomoeba, a Bloodghast. You know, I actually don't think I need Lightning Blast. Or Lightning Axe, I mean. Loam also seems less important, but still probably is very important. I don't know what else to cut. Maybe another Narcomoeba, and we'll run the old 61 card spell. I might need Leyline of Sanctity here because of Walking Ballista, but no guarantees on that being the case. Well, we have an Ancient Grudge, but I think we have better hands. This is not one of them. Alright, we'll keep. Put back Creeping Chill and Narcomoeba. So we can cast Conflagrate immediately. Nature's Claim, I think we have to save in case we saw Grave Hate. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Llanowar Reborn, getting a token. It was tempting to claim the module, but I'm pretty sure no way that's correct. It might be now. But we'll see, we'll wait. We do need to draw a second land. Okay, opponent's going to play an Arcbound Worker. The problem is if I claim, there's a good chance my opponent just plays out Grave Hate then. So I think I have to let this go. Okay, then make another servo. Alright, come on land, we really need it. That is close, but not exactly what I asked for. Alright, pass the turn. 2 mana. Opponent plays a Hangerback. Okay. They can't pay for module, but they can put an extra counter on it if they want. They do. They hit us for 3, so we're going to 15. Untap. Any land will do it. Come on, deck. Opponent plays a forest, and I'm pretty sure this actually kills us. So if we'd claimed animation module, we'd have slowed them down a lot, but kind of hoping they just stack everything up on a Hangerback or something like that. Okay, they attack us for a bunch. And by a bunch, I mean 3. Alright. They're feeding Ravager. They sack the Arcbound Worker, modularing that servo. I mean, going tall is definitely incorrect. We untap. Pass the turn. We'll discard Bloodghast. Okay, opponent casts Ancient Stirrings. They hit Llanowar Reborn, and they play it. They go to combat. 1, 7, 9, 10. We go to 2. We can only use this mana confluence once. Never mind, we're actually dead. So, it's possible I was supposed to claim the animation module, but I was just really concerned my opponent would just go, Relic of Progenitus or Grafdigger's Cage immediately after I Nature's Claimed. So, we'll play first. Double claim Dredge. 4 lands is tempting, but we can definitely do better. This does count. I'm going to put back Amalgam. Start Sacred Foundry. Play Shriekhorn. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Forest and Ancient Stirrings. We'll mill ourselves. We mill Creeping Chill. Okay, we get a Thug in the grave, which is perfect. Well, not perfect, but it's good. Opponent gets a Forest. We untap. draw Thug, hit nothing. Play Mana Confluence, pick up the Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Forest, they play Animation Module, and they play the Ozolith. Okay. On my opponent's second main, we'll mill ourselves just in case we hit Narcomoeba Amalgam. We did not. Untap, Dredge Thug, play a Mountain, play Stinkweed Imp, pass the turn. Opponent plays an Arcbound Worker, Animation Module trigger. They don't pay for it. They play a second Worker. Okay. We untap, Dredge Imp, then I could grudge the Ozolith, and I probably should, because that's definitely the scariest card they have on the board right now. Pass the turn. I was hoping we would get some kind of grave payoff that I would use Shriekhorn at the time that I dredged. Not like this, of course, but block one. Okay, we kill it for free. Opponent modulars up the other one. They get an Animation Module trigger. They don't pay for it because they're saving to crack Relic. We untap. Dredge Loam. We hit Creeping Chill Narcomoeba. Opponent cracks Relic. I'm going to try and hit a land, I think. Oh, we hit Narcomoeba. We loam back a Gemstone Mine. Play Gemstone Mine. Play Thug. Pass the turn. Save Stinkweed to block. Opponent plays Inkmoth. Plays an Arcbound Worker, does not pay for the Animation Module trigger, and they play a Ravager. Fantastic. Pretty sure they don't attack here, yeah. Alright, we untap. Dredge Loam. We can cast Loam, Shock Blood Crypt, play Stinkweed Imp, pass the turn. I don't like this. Opponent plays a Forest, 2 mana, Ballista. Thankfully they don't have Hardened Scales, but we're going to start suiting up the Ballista. Okay, this is a problem. Haven't feared Ravager this much since way back in the old Affinity days. Okay, opponent goes to combat. We untap. Dredge Loam. We hit nothing. Loam back Wooded Foothills. Not paying life if I can avoid it. Cycle. Forgotten Cave. Dredge Loam. Oh, we got just enough cards in grave that I can go for the Ox. Hang on, have I exiled a Mountain? I took a Mountain out. This is my only basic. Alright. So, fetch. We used our Ancient Grudge, right? We have. So there's no reason to get this untapped, unfortunately. Now we Ox. We've got to hit like enough Creeping Chills to stay alive, and I think I have to exile this Prized Amalgam too just to do this. Oh, feels so bad. So we dump our hand. Dredge Thug. Dredge Loam. Dredge Imp. And I'm pretty sure we're dead. Yeah, if I didn't have to crack that fetch... No, we're still just dead. Opponent can make more than enough counters to kill us with Ballista. Because they can just sack Animation Module and Inkmoth and we're dead. Okay, they're playing Hangerback, presumably for just the rub-in, but... Yep. Sad days. I think I kept questionable hands, and like I said, I'm no Dredge expert, so... But I mean, if we'd hit a Creeping Chill there, we would have gained enough life. It would have been fine. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 4. Alright, well this hand seems pretty good, so we're going to keep. We will likely start by fetching a Stomping Ground into Shriekhorn, and then fetching our Sacred Foundry turn 2. It looks like our opponent might be Lantern. We untap, draw Ox, play Bloodstained Mire, crack Bloodstained Mire, get a Stomping Ground, untapped, play Shriekhorn, pass the turn. Well, attack for 1. It's like we had a Chancellor of the Forge in our opener, right? Opponent untaps. They draw. Ancient Stirrings. They hit Pithing Needle. So presumably they're going to Pithing Needle Shriekhorn. We mill an Amalgam. Okay. Opponent is not likely to name Bloodstained Mire because we've got 2 in the grave now. If they did, it would actually be devastating. Shriekhorn. Alright. We untap. No Dredge. Stinkweed Imp. Okay. So play Bloodstained Mire, crack Bloodstained Mire, get a Sacred Foundry, untapped, white, red, Thrilling Discovery, and I think we're going to go for the biggest dredge possible here. We're missing out on one amalgam by doing this, but... Dredge, Dredge, Dredge. Okay. Get back our Narcomoebas, get back some amalgams. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Okay. We get back our guys. Pass to our opponent. They untap. They play Ensnaring Bridge. We untap. We get Cathartic. Alright, so we are not likely to hit them with any more creatures than this hit right now. We're dealing 9. So I think we just go for another biggest dredge possible here and try and hit our Creeping Chills to kill them. So Cathartic Reunion, dump Stinkweed, Stinkweed, Dredge Imp, and Dredge Thug. Okay. Get back our Narcomoeba. Cool. Opponent scoops. So we need Nature's Claim, Blast Zone, Ancient Grudge, possibly Deafening Silence, but I'm kind of thinking Leyline of Sanctity, actually. We need to take out Narcomoeba, 1 Bloodghast. Let's see. Probably a mountain or a fetch land. I'll cut the mountain. I'm going to cut like 1 Shriekhorn and I think a single Cathartic. We're going to try it like this. Tempting, but I think this is a mulligan. This is better, although not amazing. I think we put back Amalgam. Opponent starts Darkslick Shores, Inquisition. So they can take Shriekhorn here, or they can take Cathartic, either one. They take Shriekhorn. We untap, draw Stinkweed, play Bloodstained Mire, crack it. We'll get a Stomping Grounds and Conflagrate X0. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play Botanical Sanctum. Have Nile Spellbomb. That's pretty good. We untap. Draw Mana Confluence. Play Gemstone Mine. Cast Loam. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Bark Channel Pathway. 3 mana. Really hope this isn't Bridge. It's worse. It's Ashiok. Apparently their entire sideboard is just Grave Hate. Yeah, there's a very good chance that we're not winning this one. If I draw exactly Nature's Claim... Okay, I didn't. So, play Mana Confluence. They took Grudge as well. I'll see what we draw here, but... Okay, I'll go ahead and scoop. Yeah, I'll just run it back like this. We might need to mulligan to Leyline. I think we're probably really bad off if that's the case, but we really gotta hope that we have it. A lot of their Grave Hate actually is targeted. Alright, we'll play first. Perfect. It's about as good as it's going to get. Because all of the Grave Hate we saw was targeted. We didn't see any Surgicals, though there's a good chance they have them. Lead on Leyline. Okay. Play a Mountain, play Shriekhorn, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play Darkslick. They have Grafdigger's Cage. I think we still mill. We mill Bloodghast, but we can't do anything with it. We gotta get some kind of removal for this Grafdigger's Cage. And in the meantime, we probably have to be casting Thugs. We draw Wooded Foothills, play Wooded Foothills, and it doesn't matter. Fetch, Blood Crypt, play Thug, pass the turn. I don't know if milling my opponent is a good idea. I don't know how many Ensnaring Bridges they run, but opponent plays a Codex Shredder. Cage is the hardest Grave Hate for us to beat. So we really need to draw Ancient Grudge or Nature's Claim. We can't be milling ourselves, but I don't know if saving counters on Shriekhorn is, like, to mill ourselves after the fact is good. I mean, it probably is. We untap. We draw. Bloodstained Mire. Play Bloodstained Mire. Go to combat. Attack them for 1. Take them to 19. They are stuck on 1 land. Play another Thug. Just playing really bad aggro here. Fetch up a Stomping Ground. Untapped. Play another Shriekhorn. I think I'm going to mill them. Well, we milled Ensnaring Bridge. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play Academy Ruins. Well, if they try an Academy back Ensnaring Bridge, we just mill it. They play Pixis. And pass. We untap. Draw Stinkweed Imp. Play Stinkweed Imp. Go to combat. Hit them for 2. They untap. They play Thopter Foundry. Okay. So opponent can start sacking artifacts to make Thopters. We untap. We draw Conflagrate, which we can't cast from the grave. So go to combat. Attack for 1. Maybe I shouldn't have milled them, because I let them actually draw that second land by doing that. Alright. Opponent sacks a Codex Shredder, makes a Thopter. I mean, if they don't block with it, I'll just hardcast Conflagrate. Kill the Thopter. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They have an Ensnaring Bridge anyway. Okay. Doesn't currently stop us from attacking, but if I could draw an Ancient Grudge off the top here, it'd be amazing. Okay, we didn't. Play Bloodstained Mire. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Take our opponent to 14. Fetch with Bloodstained Mire. We'll get a Sacred Foundry tapped. And we'll pass. Opponent untaps. They Inquisition themselves. We get to see their hand. They get rid of Thoughtseize. They can Inquisition and take their own Whir of Invention if they want to. We untap. We draw Cathartic, which we can't cast. Go to combat. Attack for 1. So they can make 2 Thopters here if they want, but they'd have to sack Thopter Foundry to do it. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. Inquisition themselves, revealing 2 Whirs of Invention. They go to combat but don't attack. We untap. We draw Ox. Honestly, let's see. Is it better to Cathartic this turn and discard Confluence and Ox? Or is it better to play the Ox? I think it's better to Cathartic. Because if I draw Grave Hate, or if I draw Anti-Grave Hate, I can use it this turn. And we get a Thrilling Discovery. We'll use its ability, discard these cards we don't need. Well, we hit Loam and Chill. Go to combat. Attack them for 1. We can Loam to pick up more lands, to have lands to play. Pass the turn. Or we can just like hardcast Chill. But opponent is going to be, in theory, gaining life off of Thopter Foundry. Okay, they play Lantern. They have no way to manipulate top decks, though. When we do... I think because we're holding Thrilling Discovery, we don't care about drawing the Sacred Foundry. Opponent is drawing an Assassin's Trophy. We untap, draw the Foundry. Loam on top. Okay. So let's Thrilling Discovery. We will use its ability, dump Loam, dump Sacred Foundry. No Dredge, no Dredge, no Dredge. Cool. Go to combat. We have a Nature's Claim on top of our deck, which will help quite a bit. Attack for 1. Opponent makes themselves shuffle. They don't want to draw Assassin's Trophy because they don't have green mana. Play Bloodstained Mire. Cast Loam. Pick up land, land, and land. This is mildly important because we want to be able to cast a big Conflagrate next turn. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. Yeah, Improvise doesn't let you use the mana colors of artifacts to pay for it. They play Talisman of Curiosity. So they will be able to whir next turn. So I think the game plan this turn is to hit Grafdigger's Cage, try and dig to wherever our Ancient Grudge is, take out Bridge. Okay, so we draw Nature's Claim. Start by claiming the cage. Okay. They sacrifice it to get a Thopter because having the 1/1 is more important than gaining 4 life, I guess. Even though those things are about equal in my mind. But then we... let's see. I think we play the Ox first. No, we want to play a land to get this Bloodghast. So play Confluence. Get back the Bloodghast. Then we Ox. Exiling a bunch of cards we don't need. Okay. Dump our hand. Dredge, dredge, dredge. Opponent still has Ensnaring Bridge, and they will be able to whir next turn. But we did not find... Oh, you know what? Mill ourself. There it is. Mill ourself. Grudge the bridge. I think I needed to fetch with this Bloodstained Mire first, because I may not have stuff left to fetch. Yep. Okay, well, use Narcomoeba's ability. Get back all the amalgams this turn. Chill our opponent. Go to combat. Swing out. Yeah, I needed to fetch before that dredge. That was a sequencing error. I miss out on quite a bit of damage because of it. So we get back like all of our guys. We still do have a Nature's Claim in the deck. But next turn, we're just going to loam, Conflagrate to kill them. So they need to have both Ensnaring Bridge and Grafdigger's Cage. And they only have Whir of Invention in their hand, so I don't think they can do it. Okay, opponent passes. On their end step, they're whirring. They pay a life so that they can make the triple blue. But no one artifact beats us here. I think they think we don't have loam in hand. No dredge. No dredge necessary. So we'll go ahead and loam. And we conflagrate for lethal. Nice. Always a victory when you can beat Lantern Control. I'll see you guys in round 5. Alrighty, round 5 and we're on the draw. This is not a hand I want to keep. It's close, but not quite. This technically works, but I think we still try and mulligan. I really don't want to keep a one-lander. This works. I can make this work. So we'll put back Forgotten Cave and a Cathartic Reunion. Oh, a third card. I guess the Ox then. Opponent leads on Forest, plays Arbor Elves. They are either elves or like Ponza. Play Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. Really hope we draw like a Stinkweed Imp or a Golgari Thug. Something else to make sure that we get more than one dredge, guaranteed. Opponent shocks Stomping Grounds. And they play a Bone Crusher. So they are like Groll Ponza. We'll fetch up a Stomping Ground. Tapped. Then we untap. Draw Thug. There we go. Play Wooded Foothills. Fetch Wooded Foothills. Get a Sacred Foundry. Untapped. Then Cathartic Reunion, discarding Thug and Loam. Dredge Thug. Dredge Imp. And, Dredge Thug. Okay. 2 Narcomoebas, a Conflagrate, and we get an Amalgam out of the deal. Okay. Okay. And we get our Amalgam. Pass to our opponent. I think as long as we don't get Blood Mooned, or as long as they don't pillage our green land, we should be fine. In fact, even if they do pillage our green land, we're actually okay. Because we have the second mountain here. Opponent plays Windswept Teeth, cracks it. Plays a Stomping Ground untapped. Into a Seasoned Pyromancer. Ditching Pillage and Glorybringer. They attack us for 4, that's fine. So we untap, Dredge Loam. I think we just conflagrate down their entire board. Go to combat. I could leave back Amalgam, but I can also take them to 10, and that way we can attack with Bloodghast as well next turn. Opponent plays a Forest, plays Chandra. It depends on what they're holding for what ability they activate here. They could uptick for damage and try and put us on a 2-turn clock. They uptick for mana. They didn't uptick for damage? They just uptick for mana and pass? That doesn't seem right. Dredge Loam. We hit a Creeping Chill. Perfect. And that means they're dead. We pick up our lands. Play Wooded Foothills. Get back a Bloodghast. Go to combat. Kill our opponent. Alright. Alright, I don't know what they're sideboarding for this matchup, but I'm gonna bet we need Nature's Claim, Ancient Grudge, possibly Lightning Axe here. I think I'm fine discarding or getting rid of like a couple of Cathartic Reunions just for the Lightning Axes. I can drop like a Narcomoeba, 1 Bloodghast, and oh, I do want Dark Blast as well. I can cut a Loam for a Dark Blast. We'll try like this. Okay, seems good. We'll keep. Opponent Leads on Wooded Foothills, fetches for a forest, plays an elf. Come on, Dark Blast. Dang. Alright, Bloodstained Mire, crack Bloodstained Mire, get a Stomping Ground, untap, play Shriekhorn, pass the turn, opponent untaps, they play a Stomping Ground, untapped, Clothis. Okay. Annoying, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Mill on our end step. We hit an Amalgam. Untap, Dredge Loam, hit nothing. Gonna mill again. Okay, we find an Ancient Grudge. Play Gemstone Mine, and let's red, ditch Thug, Amalgam, Dredge Thug, Dredge Loam. Hit a whole bunch of stuff. Always yes, always yes, always yes, always yes. Always yield, always yield, always yield. Pass the turn. Man, sure is nice to have an excellent Dredge start. If my opponent angers me, I'm gonna be so mad. Because this is like almost our entire payoff for playing this deck. If they have Anger of the Gods, it's just game over. So they take out Ancient Grudge, drain us for 2. They play a Windswept Teeth, they crack Windswept Teeth, they get a Stomping Ground untapped, they play Seasoned Pyromancer, so they're going to try and make some blockers. They discard Magus and a land. We untap. If we hit Conflagrate, we win. Mill ourself, Dredge Loam. There it is. Conflagrate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kaboom. Go to combat, and the game is over. And we 3 and 2. Definitely could have 4 and 1'd if I had actually remembered to sideboard in the Dredge Mirror. We'll go ahead and open our treasure chest. 5 play points. Ooh, Promo Tabernacle. Wow. Oh, wow. That's a 50 ticket card. That's a 50 ticket card right there. That's awesome. Let me double check that. The Magic Online promo is okay. This one is 33 tickets. Still not bad. I'll take it. As for the deck list, I think the deck is fine. Sideboard's a little weird. If we're expecting more Dredge, we should be playing Leyline of the Void in the sideboard, but really the sideboard's just kind of meta-dependent. I think the White Splash for Thrilling Discovery is excellent. Extra Cathartic Reunion effects are super, super powerful. I'm not sure I agree with losing out on our turn 1 Dredges with Haggle and stuff like that, but there's only so many slots in a Dredge deck, and all of them are very important. It's super important to have the right mix of all of the right types of cards. Like having the right number of Dredgers, having the right number of payoffs, having the right number of enablers, having the right number of lands and fixing. It all makes a huge, huge difference. I kind of want to see a Dredge deck not play Loam and Conflagrate, and instead just like max out on Ox, Cathartic Reunion, Thrilling Discovery, Haggle, that sort of thing. I don't think it's correct, but I do want to see it happen sometime, just to see if it would be any good. I don't know about Deafening Silence and Leyline of Sanctity in the sideboard. Leyline of Sanctity was super nice. It did help us beat the Lantern Control player, but I think versus Blitz, you're better off just on the primary game plan, like instead of trying to prevent yourself from being targeted directly, because you have Creeping Chill, you have 12 more life total starting than your opponent, provided you do the right proper dredges that you're supposed to. Leyline of Punishment is kind of interesting. I'm not sure what card this is supposed to protect you against, or if it's supposed to enable a Better Nature's Claim, and without doing a lot more research to actually verify it, I have no idea. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. You're all wonderful human beings. Thanks for watching. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of May. If you want to support my channel directly and have your name show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon in the description down below. Thank you all.